This is Autism in Reality, and I'm Coy's mom, Janet. So first of all, I wanted to thank everybody for the positive feedback that we get when we're out in the community. I have had tons of people come up to me in the course of the last couple of months thanking us for doing these videos, and we really do appreciate that. I want to apologize that there hasn't been a video in a couple of months. For those who don't know, we're a baseball family. My husband's a baseball coach for Liberty Christian Academy here in Lynchburg, Virginia. And it's baseball season for us, and that changes the dynamics of everything in our family, in our house, and takes up a lot of time. Coy is very busy with Randy with baseball season. He loves to go and participate. He goes with Randy to practices every day. He's there for every game, home and away. He is Coach Coy Tomlin, and he loves it, and it's a way of getting him out of the house and getting him exercise, getting him social skills and just conversations with folks and engagement, and it's great for him and it brings life to him. And so we've been quite busy with that. But this is what I wanted to talk about today. We get asked this question, and this question was asked to me a few months ago, and I just have not had the time to sit down and do this video. But one of the things we get asked a lot is the relationship that Coy has with Ellison and Quade, the younger two siblings, and how we've made that work and be successful over the years. Well, I just first wanted to say that the younger two siblings are the reason why the relationship with Coy is so successful, because they have a heart for him, and they have never been afraid of autism. They've never been bitter about the autism or resentful over his disability. Most of you who have children with special needs and have other siblings know that the impact on the other siblings is very, very hard. It's hard for the entire family, but it's especially hard for the siblings of a child with special needs. And there's a few things we did right along the way, I think, with Quade and Ellison. First of all, we tried to use the resources that we had with them. What that looks like for Ellison, who is just 3 years younger than Coy, was social media was big when she was coming up. It was the beginning of Facebook, it was the beginning of Twitter, beginning of Instagram. And so I just used that. I used that to post pictures of her, to brag on her, to give her a self-esteem that says, hey, you're important to us too. We value you, and we need you in this family, and you have your own identity, and we're going to celebrate your identity. It's not always about Coy. And that helped a lot with her along the way. She not only had the special needs brother who was 3 years older than her, but she had the cute little brother who was younger as well. And so often with Ellison, she would find that her identity was almost lost between these two boys, especially with our lives being around baseball all the time. She'd often get, well, I knew Randy had two boys, I didn't know he had a daughter. And so for us with her, we were working overtime to help her to establish her identity and her value and her role within our family. Lots of times with her, we would post, she was into sports, she was really good with soccer, but it wasn't her her love language. Like, she would do well in it, but she really didn't care that she did well with it. I would post a lot of selfies that she would send me throughout the day, just bragging about how cute she looked, or that she picked out her outfit, or that she checked in, just little things along the way that said to her, hey, my mom's got time for me, and she knows what I'm doing. She knows what's going on in my life. And she appreciated that, and it helped her not to feel so invisible in our family. With Quade, who was athletic and did the sports with baseball, I just utilized that resource with him. He was very good at baseball all along, and so whenever he would do something successful on the field, I would again go to the Facebook, the social media, because that's where these kids are at. That's their world right now, and it was when the two younger siblings were coming along. And so I always thought that every kid needs to have the knowledge that their mom and dad are their biggest fans. And when you have a special needs child who occupies 200% of your time in your day, sometimes it's hard to spread yourself out in those areas and meet the needs of those younger siblings. And so we would just do little things along the way that showed the other two kids that, hey, we value you, we see you, we know what you're doing, we're going to brag on you too. It's not always going to be about Coy. It's about you today. This post is about you. And I would do that a lot. The other thing I liked to do along the way with the kids is when it was their birthday month. And people pick on me all the time about this, but it worked. And we do it now for our little grandbaby. But like Ellison's birthday month is June. And so depending on how old she was going to be that year, I would come up with that number of things that I loved about her that made her unique. For instance, if it was her 16th birthday, the year she turned 16, prior to her actual day of her birthday, I would post for 16 days something fabulous about her. And, you know, for her to look back and read all those, you know, meant something to her. She was like, wow, you know, you really think that way. And, you know, there was often times in our house and in my day that I couldn't sit down and have a sit down with Ellison. I was occupied with taking care of Coy's needs. And so just those little posts through the day, you know, helped her to see that she is important to me and I do value her and I'm paying attention to her as well. We would do the same thing for Quade. You know, the same concept. If he was turning 12, it was 12 things up to his birthday that made him really special, made him unique, things that we loved about him. We came up with a little hashtag for him along the way because of Randy playing baseball and Quade just loving that whole thing with Major League Baseball. We came up with a little hashtag that I would use called Raising MLB. You know, Randy being a Major League Baseball player, now we have a little boy playing baseball. And he just loved that because it gave him a sense of, you know, not so much significance, but like, wow, like my mom sees me as a big league player, you know, so it just boosted him up a little bit too. And the things that you can do, you know, with the other siblings that will help them with not feeling the resentment, because it's easy to get resentful when everything, all the focus is on the special needs child, is just to observe where they're at in life. We came along with Ellison and Quade, and it was definitely social media. And so I would do as much as I could on social media to make sure that they saw it, to make sure that they knew that, hey, you know, during that time of the day, I was actually thinking about you. I wasn't meeting Coy's needs. I was actually thinking about you, but you weren't home, so I couldn't really tell you, so I posted on Facebook. You know, the whole birthday month thing, that was good too, because then they got to see what I valued about them and what made them unique and what, you know, those things are so important in kids' life to be told. And sometimes throughout the day, you don't get the opportunity to sit down and tell your kids that, especially when you're dealing with a low functioning special needs child who needs every bit of your attention every second of your day. We also encourage them along the way to understand Coy, to understand his needs, and to understand that you know, as hard as it is on them being the sibling of the autistic child, to remember how hard it is on him too. And the more they would learn about autism, the less that we use it as an excuse for things, then, you know, the more engaged and involved they became in his life. It's worked for us over the years. These young two siblings, they love him. They you know, they brag on him. They adore him. Excuse me. And so there's lots of things you can do. These are just a few tips that I wanted to give you, just to answer the question that I get on Facebook a lot is people see us out and they see Coy with Ellison and Quade, and we often get asked, you know, how did you pull that off? Because, you know, my 13-year-old is really, he's really resentful because there's so many things we can't do as a family, and he blames it on the special needs child. And we never used autism as an excuse, but it was an excuse a lot of times throughout the kids' lives where we couldn't go do things. But it was never Coy's fault. It was because he had autism, and we're not going to leave him behind, so we're not going to be able to do that. But we always picked up pace and did something different, did something that they could all enjoy, and taught them that, you know, to value each other, to value themselves. And yeah, that's all I have. Thanks.